pointers. Playoffs, guys, just right around the corner. Big game for both teams. Need points to either move up or stay where they're at or not make the playoffs at all. So huge game for these guys tonight. So real quick, to my right, we got Johnny on the spot. To my far left, we got Pick'em and Hit'em Hines. And then our special guest tonight, Mr. Jeff Ramey. So Jeff, first of all, I want to say thank you for taking time out of your day and your evening to sit down with River City Sports Media to be a part of the pregame show. Our sponsors, Brace Yourself Orthodontics, the Cellular River, Portsmouth Brewing Company, the UPS Store, AB Photography, Next Level CrossFit. We appreciate you taking your time to meet with us and kind of talk about your history at Portsmouth and what you're doing, through your life and where you're at now and what you got going on. So real quick, I'll just kind of run through it. Some of the stats that we kind of pulled up on you. One that Trent kind of left off that I know about is you are in the Portsmouth Hall of Fame, along with several other great athletes who have come out of this Portsmouth area. Obviously, you played baseball here at Portsmouth, was your main prime sport. Coming out of your baseball career at Portsmouth, you headed to Indiana. Played in Indiana. From there, you was an 18-round draft pick for the Cincinnati Reds in 1992. 92, you went to the Billings Mustangs. 93, Princeton Reds. 93, Winston-Salem's. Have you had a successful career athletically and obviously professionally in the medical field where you're at now? You're also an award-winning author as well. Nurse Prack at SOMC, working with Dr. Saab and his team up there as well. So, my first question I got for you, Jeff, is what was your experience like playing baseball here in Portsmouth back in those days? Because obviously the times have changed, obviously over the years. But what was that experience like?
Well, you got to think about it. When I was growing up in Portsmouth, first of all, I grew up on the East End, a few blocks away, blocks from Branch Rickey Stadium, and it was, I would say, it's in the heyday of baseball in Portsmouth. At that time, when I was a kid, we had Al Oliver, Larry Heisel, Gene Tennis, Don Gullett, were all major league players, and not just guys that were in the big leagues. They were all-stars, World Series MVPs, batting champ. They were stars.
Yes.
And so we had those guys to look up to. We had a lot of pride. There was a lot of internal competition. It was a great time to grow up, especially on the East End. A lot of talent. Multiple guys I played with as kids went on to play at the college level. Several who should have went on to play pro level that were better than me, and for whatever reason didn't get the opportunities. But it was a great time to be an athlete in Portsmouth, and especially baseball.
So for a lot of people that don't know, back then when you grew up in the east end of town, the east end of Portsmouth, not much different than it is now. That wasn't a real good part of town. It was a rough part of town. If you grew up in the east end, you learned to defend yourself pretty well in that area of the town.
I was kind of, I'd say I was coddled a little bit. I had a dad that had a good job, and I had a curfew, and he wanted to see my report card every 9 weeks. So I was lucky. I was very lucky. I always say I hit the lottery when it came to dads. And there's a couple names. I'm gonna put, the guys, Herbie White, your Uncle Herbie, Dwayne Wells. There's a guy named Eddie Sprague that no one would know about. And I'm telling you, these guys had more talent than I did. And if you put my dad with them, they would have done more than I did. So I was very blessed, very lucky. But the East End took a lot of pride being from the East End.
Yes.
And kind of the neat thing about it is that the railroad tracks was a divide. There's the Hilltop and the East End, the River Rats. But one thing we realized is that once we got here to Portsmouth High School, we were all the same.
We're all true.
We're all the same. So it was great. I'm so thankful I grew up on East End.
So your high school baseball coach was
John Tipton.
So it's funny, and I wanted you to mention Coach Tipton for a reason. Several weeks ago, we were at Valley Willersburg. We had Coach Schuler on for the pregame. My Mount Rushmore of baseball coaches was Hags, Tipton, Jack Brandon from Willersburg, and of course Schuler. And I kind of got Schuler caught off guard, a little choked up when I mentioned my Mount Rushmore of coaches. And it's no disrespect to Michael Eastep or any other coach that's in this area. It's just those guys faced so much more diversity, whether it was a collar barrier, the poor, the rich, which side of the tracks you lived on, trying to get you guys to unite and be a baseball team or a sports team, period. I feel the challenge for those coaches' time was way different than what it is now.
Yeah, and the neat thing about those guys you named, and Michael's a great coach, but those guys laid the foundation.
Yes.
But they were willing to help any kid from any school. That's how I had a buddy of mine, Scott Beavers, was the head baseball coach at the University of Cincinnati. Gage Hughes, a local kid, was going to go play at Cincinnati. And I told him, I said, it used to be a hotbed for baseball. I said, it's not like that anymore. And he said, why is it not like it used to be? And I said, because we had John Tipton, we had Dean Schuler, Jack Brand. Those guys would help not only the kids from their school, but any kid from Side County.
Yeah. Yes.
And again, it was just they laid the foundation for. Guys went on to play college ball, pro ball, all kinds of guys from Southern High at that time.
Yeah. Hines, you got a question for Mr. Ramey?
First, man, it's an honor having you down here.
Thank
Being
you,
a good friend. Appreciate you coming on with us.
Thanks for having me.
Talk a little bit about your time in Indiana. I know it's a great honor to play there. Talk about how that helped you get you where you are today.
Well, it was tough. You played college golf. You played college football.
I didn't go to college. I went to the military. Right?
Tough. Okay. You did more than we did. Right? So,
thank you for your service, Johnny.
But you know as well as I do, when you go play a Division I sport, it's very structured. It's very, you're on a schedule, 6 a.m. workouts. You got study table. You don't have a lot of time to do what you want to do as a college kid.
Absolutely.
But I played for a Hall of Fame coach there, and Bob Morgan, over 1,000 wins. Several guys I played with went on to play professional baseball. A couple of them played the big leagues. I played with a guy named Mike Smith, who's the only guy in the history of Division I baseball to win the Triple Crown.
Oh, wow.
Led the nation in hitting, home average. They prepared us for the next level, and it was a culture shock for me. The big thing for me was the speed of the game. I didn't see a lot of velocity day in and day out. The guys were just faster, bigger, stronger. But, I would tell any kid, if you go to play college, stay with it.
Yeah,
you will get bigger. Show up every day. Keep working hard. And if you can get over that tough period, then you can have success. And the key is just try to maximize your potential. Whatever that is, try to maximize it. But I think I see too many kids give up before they have a chance to really maximize their potential. So,
and I think that's a little bit of the culture these days is play me now, I'm leaving, or play me now, I'm quitting, I'm going home. And kids just don't have there's not too many of those whiskey drinking, roughneck, backbone kids left these days that want to put the work ethic or work and time in to see that success happen. It's like I said, it's play me now mentality.
Like they just want to hand it to them instead of actually having to work hard for it. Like they used to.
Well, we got to set the portal. Every year. So
Johnny.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
I guess one of my questions is it's kind of on sport, but it's also something different. Like we were talking about your history and everything you've done, you went real far into baseball.
Mm-hmm.
You had a really good career doing that. But something that really sticks out to me is that you knew if baseball didn't, you had your backup plan, which is what you do now in the medical field.
Right.
I guess talk more about these kids knowing that it's very important to still get that education and still play the sports, but you shouldn't just do the bare minimum. You need to go ahead and get a backup plan in case the sports don't pan out.
Yeah.
Just explain how that worked out good for you.
Well, one thing I always say to kids, use sports. Don't let sports use you. Okay. If you're a high school All-American, I don't care if you're a Major League All-Star. If that's the highlight of your life, then you haven't lived a fulfilled life, right? Yeah. I always say there's 3 things you get from sports. It's relationships, memories, and lessons. So you use the lessons. If you take the lessons that sports teach you and apply it to whatever your passion is in life, you will be successful. Sports teaches you everything you need to do. Show up, be on time, be coachable. All coaching is being humble, right?
Exactly.
And find your passion. Get the right people around you. Put the work in. Show up every day, even when you don't feel like it. And I believe you'll figure it out. So sports teaches you about life, but we have too many guys that don't use those lessons to do something beyond sports.
I agree exactly what you're saying, and that's why I kind of want. We have a lot of people that watch us, and a lot of these younger kids now. I think a lot of people ain't looking towards the future. Like this sport, this is my number one. If this doesn't do it, then I don't. These kids go to the free education. Why not take advantage of the free education like you did, and get that backup plan in case these sports don't happen.
Yeah.
You know, you never know when these injuries. I mean, you look now in football, baseball, injuries are happening every day.
Right.
No one understands. But hey, I think it's great what you're doing. You know, you went so far into going into the MLB. That's a big thing, being drafted in MLB. You know, on top of it, now you're successful in the medical field. I think kids need to know that more often, that this ain't the only option they have. They have this also.
I agree.
So a little bit. So my next question for you is kind of talk about when did you get a phone call, or how did the draft happen with the Reds?
Oh man, how much time we got? So it's kind of a neat
Because
story.
this is a story I've never heard.
It's a neat story. So I was a late bloomer. I have a trial camp at Riverfront Stadium, and after that camp, I was driving to Pickwood to pick up Mike Smith. We were driving to Pittsburgh. We had a trial at Three River Stadium. So I had a good camp. Took me and some guys under the stadium after the camp, did an eye exam, and they gave us this psychological test, like, if you found $20 in the Walmart parking lot, what would you do with it? It was kind of trying to test your character.
Mm-hmm.
So I drive up to Pickwood, pick up Mike Smith. We get in the car, head to Pittsburgh. He said, how'd you do this? I had a good camp. They took me underneath. He said, man, you're getting drafted. He said, I was at that camp the year before. Everybody they took underneath got drafted. Now, what I didn't realize is I'm getting chills here. When I left Riverfront Stadium, Gene Bennett called my dad and said, we're taking Jeff in the draft, not day one, but taking him day two. Okay, so the draft was 3 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
Now I go to Three Rivers. They told me they were going to draft me, right? I thought I was getting drafted by the Pirates. My dad never told me. He never told me. So my best friend, Pat Rigsby, comes over on the day of the draft. Says, hey, you want to go out the boat? I said, yeah. And Dad stayed home from work, which was unusual. He said, hey, I need you to stay around here with me. He knew I was getting the call.
Yep.
And Gene Bennett called me and says, how'd you like this Cincinnati Red?
So I think that's pretty special that Gene was the one that made that phone call, being that Gene was from this area.
Absolutely.
A lot of time and dedication Gene had put into youth sports in this area when Gene was around. He donated a lot of money. He brought a lot of Reds Foundation money to this area to help a lot of different schools to improve their facilities when it came to Little League, for sure.
He was a Hall of Fame scout.
Yeah.
And, kind of a little story here. You know, I'm going out to Billings, Montana. My manager is Donnie Scott, a former big league catcher. I hadn't caught a whole lot, you know. So about 3 weeks into the season, Donnie Scott calls me in his office and he said, hey, I just got off the phone with Jim Bowden. He said, I didn't know you were drafted by Gene Bennett. And he said, I didn't realize you hadn't caught that much. And he said, I told Jim Bowden said, he asked me, who can play in the big leagues on the roster? He said, I told him 3 names. He said, what names you said? I told him. I said, Chad Mottola, Tim Belk, and Eric Owens. He said, and I told him Jeff Ramey. He said, let me tell you something. Gene Bennett does not draft guys to play in the minor leagues. He drafts guys that he thinks can play in the big leagues. And he said, his name carries so much weight in this organization.
Yes.
He said, you have a lot of power and opportunity with his name right after yours. You know, so Gene Bennett was a man. You know, he was a man. So.
I'd always heard stories about Gene's. If Gene put his stamp of approval on somebody, it was a good. So, kind of real quick, and we'll kind of jump into some local picks. Real quick, tell us as you went through, you know, the couple years with the Reds, what happened, injuries, what went on.
Man, you know, I had that conversation with Donnie Scott. He tells me, he's like, look, you got a great arm. I think you can catch the big leagues. You're raw. So we need to get together before practice, start working on little things. We started doing that. A couple of weeks later, I slid head first into second base, felt something in my wrist. I thought it was a sprain. And long story short, it just lingered and lingered and lingered. Finally, by the time I got an MRI, I had a bone broke in my wrist. That's probably one of the worst bones to break in the body because there's very little blood flow. And that was pretty much that. You know, I came back the next year, but I was never the same. My strength, you know, was I could throw. I had a good arm. And that was probably what's going to, if I was going to get to the big league, that's what's going to take me. You know, so.
And if nobody's ever seen this guy hit a softball, he can still hit a softball as well. I promise you that.
Hey, not as good as your Uncle Murphy, I'll tell you that. So,
all right, you guys you ask questions for
He answered my question.
Hines, you got to ask questions before you hop into picks. All right, so go through some college picks. So we'll kind of run through the table. Jeff, we'll have you pick Johnny. We got Ole Miss at Georgia real quick. Who you got?
Oh man, you know the Georgia Bulldogs are tough, and Ole Miss has been playing good. But I'm about to go with Georgia, man. I think Georgia comes in and wins the game.
Hines?
I think Georgia wins at home. I like Georgia.
I'm going to go with Ole Miss, pulls this one out. just because I think Lane Kiffin and that visor looks so much like Andy Hall from Jackson. So I'm going to go with Ole Miss.
I can see that.
Jeff, how about you?
I'm with Ole Miss because you intimidate me. So I don't want you to. I'm going to go with Ole Miss.
All right. So next game we got, next college game we got Tennessee at Alabama.
Man, right. I can't really say that Alabama's been getting rough because they have picked it up since those first couple losses beginning of the season. I think they finally found their stride. I'm going to go with Alabama. I don't think Tennessee's going to be able to run inside Alabama and then beat them. I think I'll have the home field advantage and they pull off the win.
Hines?
Yeah, I think the Boer's finally kind of getting his footing down there and figuring it out a little bit. I think Bama wins.
I'm going to go with, as much as I hate to say it because I'm not an SEC fan, I'm going to go with Bama as well. So, Jeff?
I just saw something where they ranked the top 5 college football programs of all time. Their number 1 ranked was Alabama, so I'm going to go with Alabama.
Gotcha. All right, so next we got the Blue Jays at the Mariners.
Well, I only watched a couple of the baseball teams, but, my team got took out, very first one, which probably the same ones you guys said, Reds.
Yeah.
But, I'm just going to take a wild guess. I'm going to say Mariners going to take this one.
Oh, Hines?
So what has it done? The Mariners 1-2
Yes.
in Toronto.
Yes.
Toronto 1-2 in Seattle.
Correct.
Man, I'm going to go with the Mariners. I think they've had a good year. I'm going to roll with the Mariners.
I'm going to roll with the Blue Jays for the simple fact that Pat Borders played there.
Yeah,
Pat Borders is a World Series MVP for the Blue Jays, which is a long time ago. There's probably not too many people who remember Pat Borders, but I'm going to roll with the Blue Jays and for Pat Borders' sake.
I'm going to go with the Blue Jays because Pat Borders was on that team and Larry Heisel and Jim Tennis were on the coaching staff.
True.
There you go.
Three guys from Force Ties.
There you go, right there. Right there. Brewers at the Dodgers.
Now, I've heard a lot about the Dodgers this year, and I heard that's the team to beat this year. So I'm going to go with the Dodgers winning this one.
I'm going to go NL Central and go with the Brewers.
Brewers? Man, I mean, the Dodgers just got that payroll next to the Yanks. I mean, I'm going to go with the Dodgers as much as I hate to. Jeff?
Well, I think Dodgers don't worry, but I think Brewers going to take the game.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
I think
So, high school.
And I seen how, again, I watched Fairland when they played West, and it was really they were having trouble stopping the run with Bishop. And I think this running back, I think he's one of the top running backs of Southern Ohio. I honestly do believe that. I think Cole Grove wins that game.
Hines?
Yeah, their rushing attack's really good, but I think Fairland keeps it close, though, man. They're a gritty team. I think they hang around, but I got Colgrove winning.
Especially that second half. They're a second half team.
They are. I agree. Colgrove definitely managed the game with 3 yards in a cloud of dust mentality. They don't want their opponent to have the ball at all, or if possible. I'm going to go with the Colgrove Hornets as well. Jeff?
I'll go about the same as every team you have.
Almost.
Okay. I'm going to go Cold Grove at home. Cold Grove at home.
All right, next one is Northwest at Waverly.
Oh, man. I'll tell you one thing. Now, I graduated from West, and
You guys took a salami last week.
but it was a slaughterhouse over there. But those farm boys straight put us to the pastures. I'm just saying. So, I'm going to go with Northwest, man. I think they've had a great practice. How they practice is they practice how they play. They literally live that. You watch their practice, they're sitting there doing full-on tackle practices. I think Northwest wins it. I think they're going to come out strong.
Hines?
Yeah, they're very physical. They're huge. We had them earlier this year. I think they win.
I'm going to go with Northwest as well. Northwest was the team that I picked early in the year that I felt would probably be somewhere around the 7-3 mark. If you remember at the roundtable, they've kind of let me down the first several weeks. I think, big win last week against West. I'm going with Northwest tonight as well. Jeff?
Hey, I'm a big Dennis Haggerty fan, so I'm going to go with Northwest. Not because of you, because of Dennis Haggerty.
We got Valley at Grandview tonight.
I don't know too much on Grandview, but Valley, I mean, I keep going with Valley, and they have these rough stretches, and I think they're still figuring it out. I think their offensive playbook, they're not that big, and they need to open it up more. But I'm going to go because they're just their hometown team, Valley. I'm going to take Valley against Grandview.
Hines?
I know the Indiana commit is out for Grandview Heights, so that changes a lot. But I think McNeil's coming back for Valley tonight. I don't know. I think they go on the road and find a way to win.
I'm going to go with Grandview tonight for the win over Valley. I just think that they've had a rough couple of weeks. They got some things they need to figure out.
Yeah.
I just don't know if this is the game they're going to get that figured out. Jeff?
I have several friends who are on the coaching staff at Valley, several friends whose kids play on the Valley team, so I'm going to go with Valley. I'll pick the Valley Indians.
All right, so tonight's game, obviously, we're here at Trojan Coliseum. Portsmouth is hosting, obviously, South Point. Big points game tonight, guys. Johnny, South Point, Portsmouth, who you got?
Man, I think it's going to be a good game. I think the pointers are going to point Portsmouth right in the direction they need to win. So I'm going to take Portsmouth Trojans in this one.
Hines?
Man, I think South Point's, they got some athletes. They play hard. I think Portsmouth finds a way to win it, though.
Jeff, who do you think? Portsmouth?
Yeah, Portsmouth.
You ain't going against Portsmouth. You already knew that answer.
I know. I mean, it's hard to go against your school and your alumni, but every now and then, hey, I did it. Valley. I picked Valley over Williamsburg out there.
You did.
So, so for me, before I make my pick, though, real quick, who do you have for the national championship in college football, Jeff?
Who do I want?
Who do you think is going to win the college football national championship?
I would love to see Indiana. I love what they're doing, but I think Ohio State's going to be too much.
Got it.
And that's if they stay healthy and all that.
Yeah.
So, but right now, the way things are, I'd say Ohio State.
They're looking pretty good. Obviously, what Indiana's doing is great. I think it's smart of Indiana just give their coach a contract extension, $98 million, so he doesn't leave.
I agree.
So, for me, I mean, the guys up the road at South Point, coming down here to Portsmouth, good coaching staff. I know several of those guys on that coaching staff. But, man, I just think tonight it's going to be awful hard for those guys to stop the running game for Portsmouth. I'm going with the Trojans.
All right.
Trojans in Portsmouth.
All right.
Guys, we appreciate you tuning in. This is River City Sports Media pregame show. Thank you to our sponsors, Next Level CrossFit, Brace Yourself, Orthodontics, the Portsmouth Brewing Company, AB Photography, the UPS store, the Scioto River.
We actually just got a new sponsorship with the Complex. We got some big things cooking up with them. Stay in tune. But we did get a new sponsorship with the Complex in West Portsmouth, so it's going big things are about to
I wasn't going to let that secret out of the bag. I wasn't sure if it was out there yet, but yes, the Complex is on board as well as a sponsorship with us. So kudos to those guys for jumping on board. Guys, we appreciate it. If you have nothing to do, get down here to the Coliseum. Check out Portsmouth hosting South Point tonight. Jeff, we appreciate your time. It was an honor to have you on the show tonight.
Thank you so much, man.
We obviously thank you for your time and your efforts to come in for us. Guys, we'll see you next week, and we're out.